I'm Mickie Zekley, and this is a videotape music lesson on how to play flute in the Irish manner. The type flute I'm playing is a 19th century Irish flute with 6 open holes and some keys. The keys are not so important, and we're not going to be dealing with them at all. That the flute like this was used in orchestras. You would hear them play Mozart and Beethoven and all the classics on it. It was later replaced by the Boehm system flute, the silver flute that we were used to today. As the flute became less used in orchestral things, the Irish peasantry took over using it, and it became developed well into their style of music. Because of the way the notes fall on the Irish flute, it is much easier to play the music smoothly than using a modern silver flute. The type of music I play is a combination of styles from different parts of Ireland, but primarily the style from County Clare. Now we're going to show you how to set up your flute. First of all, there are the finger holes, and then there is the embouchure hole. Now in a modern flute, you take your embouchure hole and you line it up with the finger holes. But with Irish style flute like this, we take the edge you blow against. Your lips would be over here, but you take the edge you blow against and line that edge up with the center of your tone holes. By doing this, you'll be able to get the proper reedy sound for Irish flute. Now I'm going to show you how to hold the flute and to get proper tone. The next thing that we must learn is how to hold the flute in the right way to play this type of music. The first thing to do is to sit up straight so that the air flows freely through your body. Don't bend your neck over to the side or hunch over or anything. Just sit up real straight. And that way the air can be just flowing freely. Breathe deeply so you can feel your diaphragm. Your diaphragm's down here. Just everybody take some deep breaths. Ah, that felt good. Now we're going to take the flute and bring it up to our lips, like this. And we're going to put our fingers on the flute. Instead of in a cramped position where we're trying to get our fingertips to cover these holes, we just take our fingers flat as we can and just flop them over the holes so they're just relaxed in covering, not the tips, just wherever they fall. And that's how you put your fingers on the flute. The next thing we're going to do is look at the embouchure of the flute. And first of all, you can see the sound hole of my flute, and I'm going to roll it in now. I'm going to put it back so you can see it. Now I'm going to cover the back part of the embouchure hole. I'm going to cover 1/3 of that hole with my lower lip. This is a totally different technique than on the classical flute. By doing this, you'll be able to get the proper reedy sound. The sound that you strive for, instead of getting a pure fundamental sweet sound, is something where you get the upper harmonics in a very reedy sound, and we'll try to work on that in a little while. So you cover that up, 1/3 of the hole, like that. Now take 3 fingers down on the flute and cover 3 holes, and that gives you the note G. And put this up here, and everybody try making a sound. Now what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, let me talk about the embouchure. Your lips must be tight and your jaw fairly well forward, not pulled back in. Everybody try making a sound. Now, your lips should be tight and there should be quite a bit of pressure. And try to imitate what I'm doing. Listen to this. What I did was start making my lips tight. Then, by making my lips tight and putting more pressure behind it, I took the note from a very quiet thing to where the upper harmonics came in and became real reedy, and then finally broke into the second register. Let's all do this again, trying to make this go from very little sound until it just breaks into the second register. Now the sound we're really looking for, though, is this. Now everybody just try to do these long tones, getting that reedy quality with me, okay? That's very good. Now if you notice that I'm playing out of the side of my mouth rather than out of the center. In the old days, it didn't matter if you played out of the side of your mouth or out of the center. It's wherever that it worked the best for your particular anatomy and it sounded the best. And everybody should choose this rather than trying to force your body to do things that it was never made to do in the first place. We're going to do a few more of those sound exercises. We're going to continue working now on producing the proper sound on the flute. And we're going to continue working on the breathing first, because you can't do anything without breathing properly. So the first thing we're going to do is work on the diaphragm, which we mentioned earlier. Your diaphragm is a series of muscles right here. And what I want you to do is to take deep breaths, not chest breathing shallowly, but breathing all the way down here. And we're going to make some weird noises and imitate them. It's okay. Nobody will laugh at you. You're doing this in your living room. So if you get dizzy while you're doing this, that's called getting hyperventilated. And if you're getting hyperventilated, then you know you're doing it right. So take a deep breath and go, ho, ho. And you're making that, pushing the air from right down here from your diaphragm. Ho, ho, ho. Feel that air coming from down there. Feel your diaphragm. Let your belly move in and out. Don't be embarrassed and try to hold it all in. Just try to make your body move freely. That's good. Now we're going to take the flute and hold it up to our lips again and make some sounds with the diaphragm. Now I didn't mention this yet, but on most playing on the flute, that you tongue the notes with your tongue. That means you stop the notes with your tongue. In Irish-style flute playing, you don't do that at all. All the variations come from either notes that you make with your finger called grace notes or with your diaphragm. Now what we're going to do is make the note G again, which is 3 fingers on the flute. And we're going to do that same ho type thing using the embouchure on the flute. It's going to sound like this. We're not so concerned of getting any particular pure tone or anything, just to get a sound on the flute. The more percussive the sound is, the better you're doing it. Now we're going to try to do that without it breaking the octave to control it a little bit. You're not using your mouth or your chest, you're using your diaphragm to make these sounds. Now we're going to kind of play in rhythm with it. Now I'm doing that all with the diaphragm. There's a steady flow of air, and I'm just giving little pushes of air with the diaphragm. Let's try that some more. So that is making rhythm with your diaphragm, or punching the note as they call it. Now we're going to learn how to make some grace notes with the flute. The grace notes are the things that break up the melody and make Irish music what it is. First of all, we're going to work on something called the tap, and we're going to work on the note G that we learned already. That's 3 fingers. Now the tap is hitting a note below the G, which is an F sharp. Now I'm going to do it once by playing a note. It's just a very quick hit on the note. The thing that's important about the tap in any Irish grace notes is that they're all even and very sharply delineated. So I'm going to play a series of taps on G. Now all of you, just play along right with me and we'll try to do that some more. You notice that you're hardly holding that finger down at all. If you're getting a longer note there, then you're doing it incorrectly. Let's try it one more time for the tap. Good. The next thing we're going to learn is the cut, and it's just the opposite of the tap. We're gracing up rather than down. We're gracing up to A, then back down to G, and I'll play it once. And I'll do that again. And you can try to imitate me. Just remember, all of the distances between these different sounds is even. So here's the cut. Again, the cut. Good. Now if you take a cut and a roll and put them together, you have something, a cut and a tap and put it together, you have the most important gracing in Irish music. And this is called the roll. It goes like this. First you cut, then you tap. Good. Now that's a roll. Now you can do rolls on many notes. That's on the note G. Now we're going to do a roll on F sharp. Now on E. Now on E, sometimes instead of like lifting the E finger, you lift the one above it, the F sharp finger, then go down. Then we'll do the A, and on the A, it works very well to lift the C finger and then tap down with the G finger. Good. Now you've gotten a roll. There's also another technique that's called a double roll, and it's like this. See, I'll try it again. Kind of two rolls together. I'm rolling on A. On G. I'll just try to play a lot of rolls in a roll, many rolls together. The next thing we're going to learn is a slide. Now what we're doing, we're taking a note and kind of rolling off to the side and opening the hole very slowly. some basic grace notes for Irish music. We're going to take a tune, an Irish reel. Now a reel is a dance tune in 4/4 time that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or when you're playing it up to speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But for now we're going to play it very slow. And I'm going to use many of the grace notes that we just learned. Now the thing about Irish music and Irish flute playing is that you really don't have a set way that you do it. Like you don't plan your grace notes that every time it comes out this way. It comes out more from your feeling from inside you, and you change it every time. A good Irish flute player really never plays the same thing twice through the same way. The tune we're going to play is the Maids of Mount Kisco. By the way, Mount Kisco is a big Irish city in New York. Play it for you now, once through fast. I didn't play the second B part, but that's okay. Now I'm going to start trying to break some of the tune down so you'll understand more of what we did. First of all, we're going to go back to the hands now, and we're going to start at the beginning. So we're going a roll there. That's a roll on the note A. By the way, the notes on the flute are D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Everything off is C sharp, and a fingering where you have the middle finger of the left hand and the 3 fingers down on the right is C natural, and your second octave D is everything on but the index finger of your left hand. And going up in the second octave, it's just the same as the first, except you're blowing harder. So we're going to start again on the Maids of Mount Kisco. So that's a roll on A. That's 2 rolls in a row. And we'll keep going. So those are just rolls on A. Then those are rolls on G. Instead of going, you can go like this. Instead of, you go. Now that is called a triplet. What you're doing is filling in between the notes of the melody with an extra note as another type of grace note. So instead of going, you can go. So I'll play so far what we got. I think I played that wrong. Okay, now we'll go on with the tune. I'm not playing it the same way each time. Try to pick out all the various ways of doing this, because unlike a lot of other musics, Irish music comes from your heart, and it's a matter of expression, and it's not a matter of duplicating something over and over in the same way. Now you heard a little slide in there. Go back and work on that slide. So I'll play that whole first part and go into the second. That's another triplet. And that's a real fast roll. Another slide. Another triplet from B, C sharp, D. Instead of going, you go. Well, we learned a tune now, the Maids of Mount Kisco, a real and A minor. Now we're going to learn a little bit more about the tune, what we call phrasing. Phrasing means where you take your breaths, basically just that. Now, in written music, you usually have like a line, then a repeat, another line, then a repeat, and that makes up a tune. Now, if you take your breaths always at the ends of those lines, it's going to be very squared off and boring, and a good Irish musician doesn't take their breaths there. They put them in all kinds of places. I'm going to play the Maids of Mount Kisco again, but I'm going to take lots of breaths, many more than you probably want to, and I'm going to put them in all different kinds of places so you can get an idea of where you can put your breaths. We've learned to put breaths in unusual places. I made those breaths very rough and noticeable where they are, so that you could get an idea of how to put them in the right places and to whatever. The right place where breath should be is one that it sounds good and keeps the music driving. Now we're going to go back to the diaphragm, the famous getting lightheaded diaphragm, and we're going to play the Mezzaman Kisco using some breath pulses with the diaphragm. And these little punches of sound is all going to come from the diaphragm, and you do it within the rhythm. Again. Remember, it's. I'll play a little more of the mouth Kisco, playing with the breath, even playing a little more regularly, but without a lot of the grace notes. Now I'm going to combine both of those styles again, and we'll play more rhythmically with the diaphragm, plus we'll play more of the gracing and do it all together. And this will be a complete tune, and I'm going to play it up to speed. Well, now we've learned to play a reel, and we've learned to put lots of different things in it. I want you to keep going back and going over the various things in the tape and going into more detail about each thing. I don't expect everybody to learn this in one lesson. It may take a year to go through this tape. Now we're going to learn a different time signature, and that's 6/8, and this is called a jig. And a jig goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to take a jig called Kevin Keegan's, named by an old friend of mine. And this is in G major. I'm going to play it slowly first, and then speed it up, and you'll have to figure out how to do it. notice in the middle of that tune I did a different technique, and I vibrated this finger. In Irish music, you don't use your throat or diaphragm or the air to make vibrato. You use your fingers. And that's finger vibrato. You can do that on any note. So now I'm going to play that faster. So there we've got a jig. Now we're going to learn a slow tune. Let's do a slow tune. Slow tunes are called airs. They're mostly songs that instead of singing them with your voice, you sing with your musical instrument. And the one I'm going to play for you is called The Rocks of Boehm, and it's in the key of G. Now the airs don't always go strictly like right to the beat with a strong rhythm. They're played more melodically and slowly and moodily, and the rhythm changes. They're played what would be called arrhythmically. And this is in the key of G, and this is The Rocks of Boehm. Now we're going to learn another dance rhythm called a slip jig or a hop jig. This tune is a 9/8 jig, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to learn the fox hunter's jig. Here we go. Now we'll play it fast. going to learn a hornpipe. A hornpipe is another type of 4/4 tune, but it's a little slower rhythm, a little syncopated. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes people will play them faster than that without the syncopation in them, but the real way that a lot of old timers play them in Ireland is like that. And I'm going to play a tune in G called Bantry Bay. We're now going to learn a polka, and this is an old carry polka called Farewell to Whiskey. Up to speed. And by the way, this is in the key of G. I'm now going to teach you a march that is in the key of E minor, and it's the March of the Clans. I'm now going to play a reel taken from a 78 back from the 20s from a flute player by the name of McKenna. It's a very rhythmic style with hardly any finger gracing at all. It's all with the diaphragm just about. And I'm not going to try to play it slow because I don't think I can. I'm now going to play for you a jig. And this jig is in the key of B minor, and it's called the Banks of Loch Ghana. I'm now going to play a tune that I learned from a flute player by the name of Paddy Carty from Loch Rae, Ireland. And Paddy Carty was a great influence on me. This tune is, I think, his version of a tune called The First House in Connaught. hope you can take all the things that you've learned on this tape and apply them to other tunes that you learned from books, from tape recordings and records, and from friends. Above all, get together with other people and play this music. It's a social music, and it's the kind of music where you can get to know people in another way than you can in any other way. I'm going to play you another tune now called Alström's March. Good luck. Have fun.